thought we weren't coming. The clerk will please take the roll.
Councilmember Archibald.
Here.
Councilmember Ashford.
Present.
Councilmember Harris.
Here.
Councilmember Lamb.
Here.
Councilmember Ruiz.
Here.
Councilmember Warden.
Here.
Mayor Rep.
Here, you have the minutes from the regular meeting of January the 22nd before you. Is there a motion to receive and file?
So moved, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Ashford. Is there a second?
Second.
Councilmember Archibald. Any deletions, additions, changes? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The minutes will stand as submitted. We do have one public hearing that was scheduled for tonight. If the clerk will please read it.
To hear comments concerning liquor license delinquent in payment of taxes and/or income tax reporting payments.
I will open that up. However, the clerk has informed me that everyone is paid up that had been sent a notice, so there really is no one that is delinquent at this point. But if anybody'd like to speak to it, they're certainly welcome to come forward. I see no one, so I will declare the public hearing closed. We'll move on to public comment. And this is the time when anybody in the audience, if you'd like to come forward and address council on any item on the agenda or any item over which we have jurisdiction, please give us your name, and you have 4 minutes. You can just come right up to the podium.
Thank you. My name's Mark Walker, and I'm here to just speak on the Blue Water Young Professionals Pavilion and the help from the city that we're asking for. And just wanted to give you just a quick update that the pavilion was really, Don Fletcher and myself were really responsible for going out and fundraising for the pavilion, and we've gotten just about all the way there, need a little help, and we appreciate any support we can get from the city. But the pavilion's been really a fantastic asset, I think. Hopefully all of you have been down there, but it's really been great. And it's huge for the boaters, but it's also huge for just anybody that's visiting our area in the waterfront. And as you know, we have the National Antique and Classic Boat Show coming forward here in September. And really, the pavilion's playing a huge role in that, and that was part of it. When they visited and saw that, they said it was probably one of the nicest pavilions they've seen on the waterfront. So I think we can be real proud of it, and we've had probably 40 to 50 donors that have helped put it together. So it's real great, and just want to thank you all for any support.
Thank you.
Yes, I'm Dave Brown from Atchison Ventures, and I'm just reiterating Mark's comments. And I think it's imperative for us to say that it has been, in our River Street operation, a tremendous asset. As a matter of fact, we're opening our boat show at Detroit this coming weekend, and we're sort of bannering up and postcarding up this tremendous amenity to the River Street operation. And now it's literally the talk of the water, and the boaters do love it. And when I did first approach Dr. Atchison and Donna to become a major contributor towards the pavilion, there was no hesitation at all. So they stepped up, we stepped up to make sure we could fulfill our commitment to make it even better at the River Street operation. Just want to reiterate that as well.
Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Kathy Solomon, live on Jenkinson Street. I just wanted to again say thank you for your consideration to change this ordinance to make our neighborhood residential. And I would like to encourage those that are at home or listening to do the same thing. And I know that the city is working on, I know the police department's talked about forming more neighborhood watches, because I do think that is the first step in this process. And I just, again, want to thank you for your kind consideration, and I want to thank all of my neighbors who have been very supportive, taken their time, and actually financially even stepped to the plate and helped us. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who wishes to address the council? This is me.
I'm Cindy Hoska. I live in 700 block of Jenkinson. My husband and I are native Michiganders. We graduated from Michigan State. Then we had to find jobs, so we went down to Louisiana for 30 years. And then we couldn't stand it anymore. And we had to have 4 seasons. And we just looked at each other over the dining room table and we said, we got to go home to retire. And home's Michigan. And we could have been anywhere. We could have gone any place in Michigan. It's a big state. And my husband knew about Port Huron. I didn't know diddly about Port Huron. But that blue water is hypnotizing. And I know y'all who have been here forever and ever and ever, it ain't no biggie. I think it's heaven. And we found a house on Jenkinson. We were here for a 1-week vacation. We bought a house on Jenkinson. And we love it. We love the house. We love the neighborhood. I even think that although lots and lots, we only been there 3 years, but lots and lots of people have said, well, we've raised our children here. I think that the time has come to have other generations of children grow up there. For heaven's sakes, we can't always be one generation. We need to be 2, maybe even 3. It's possible. And if you help us out by voting R, I think that'll be a good thing. I think our generations have got a lot on their plate, and a nice neighborhood with good neighbors is a real positive thing. Can I ask 2 questions? I know you're not supposed to, but I got 2 questions that nobody seems to know an answer to, and I'll be really, really fast. I need to understand why you can't have blue tarps covering your lawn furniture inside your privacy fence for winter. We got cited for having a blue tarp. Nobody knew what color tarp we were supposed to have. They just said you couldn't have a blue tarp. So we changed it out, and we changed it to brown, and apparently that's okay. But I don't quite understand it. It seems, for a relatively progressive group of people, it seems a little odd, kind of petty, that we can't have blue. We had to have something, but nobody even knew what it was. So that's my question for that. I'd really like to understand why we can't have blue tarps, even though we changed it to a brown one, and I guess that's okay. And my next question is having to do with snow removal. When it comes to, we have an alley behind us. We use the alley all the time because on the north side of Jenkinson, that's where our garages are. So if you're going to back out of your garage, you're going to have to use the alleyway. So there's one end of the alley, there's another end of the alley. And it is apparently very unclear as to who is responsible for clearing the sidewalk that goes across the alleyway. In our particular case, one end is taken care of by a wonderful neighbor. The other end, one house is empty, and the house that's on the other side, the neighbor doesn't shovel anything. Therefore, we've got about 3 feet of snow that just stays there, and it makes that end of the alley unusable. And nobody seems to know who's supposed to be shoveling the sidewalk that goes across the alleyways.
I will have those questions addressed at the end of the time when we're done with the
Thank you.
public audience, if you don't mind. But thank you for moving here.
Oh, it's heaven.
Well, good. It's nice to hear.
You're welcome.
Is there anyone else in the audience who wishes to address the city council this evening? Go ahead.
Good evening. My name is Michael Lewandowski. I'm a lifetime resident of Port Huron. I have some notes here, but I think I'll just address it this way I feel. I'm very dissatisfied and disgruntled with the majority of the council people here, including the city manager. I feel like the middle class and lower middle class has been forgotten in St. Clair County. My income is such, it's $26,000 a year. That's a year before I subtract anything for finances, for billing and stuff like that, and taxes included. I'm disheartened about the fact that Mr. Freed was given a $3,000 wage increase, and then a week later, he went to Grand Rapids to be interviewed for another position, possible position on the city constable there, or city manager, excuse me, I'm a little nervous. I feel that was unethical. He knew ahead of time that he was going to be interviewed for that. And personally, as a professional, I think he should have declined the raise. Not saying that the position in Port Huron doesn't deserve that raise. I'm saying the situation didn't deserve the way it went down, in my opinion, all right? Taxes-wise, every year when I get my summer taxes, I have to get a deferral, pay it in 6 months so I can keep my home, okay? And then I read in the paper also about the artwork that's being displayed. There's more money spent on those artifacts and artwork than I make in a whole year, all right? Trust me, I love art and beautifying the Blue Water area as well, and I enjoy our beautiful scenic areas by the bridge and all that as well. But I think the lower income people are being completely forgotten. Unless you're on the lower income, then you're taken care of by the state. I'm in between that gap. My water rates have gone up 25%, which is unheard of in Port Huron before I increased that high, and the city council voted for that. And I was astonished by that. I've checked around different areas in different counties in the state. The highest increase that's been afforded has been anywhere from 8 to 10%, not a whopping 25%. And then we go down there and look at the money spent, thousands of dollars on artifacts and art presentations. Anyway, I know this will probably fall on deaf ears, but I'm frustrated and felt like sharing this. I'm speaking for the little man as far as I'm concerned. And I don't have any clout like a lot of you people do, but you know what? I pay my taxes regularly. I pay my water rates regularly. I just feel we're forgetting. I think we're a thing of the past. I go by and look at that artwork and I say, wow, that could have paid for my taxes for half a year or so, whatever. I'm not even sure what the amount was spent there. You know, I love Port Huron. I always pass on Port Huron to other people that come through here if I go somewhere and travel, you know. I went south this year. That sure was the kind of money I had. I went down to Marine City, all right? So I love my country. I'm a veteran. I served in Vietnam. But I just feel like a certain amount of us are being left behind. You know, unless you're in the higher echelons, we got nothing coming. Thank you for listening to my concerns.
Thank you. Just so you know, the artwork is private donations. It's not coming from the city's money. All the artwork along there is private donations. So, is there anyone else in the audience who wishes to address the council this evening? Seeing none, I'll declare public comment closed. Now, just before we move on, did you have, Mr. Freed, any answer to those two questions about the tarp or the snow removal? Or
I'll get that, Professor. I want to check out I don't know which alley you're talking about. Some are private, some are public, and so until I see a map, I don't want to say anything to be wrong. So I'll get with you
Perhaps
afterwards.
you can leave your phone number when you leave, with us, and then Mr. Freed will get back with you. Okay. We will move on then to the consent agenda. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Councilmember Archibald, is there a second?
Second.
Councilmember Harris will take the vote.
Councilmember Archibald?
Yes.
Councilmember Ashford?
Yes.
Councilmember Harris?
Yes.
Councilmember Lamb?
Yes.
Councilmember Ruiz?
Yes.
Councilmember Warden?
Yes.
Mayor Rep?
Yes. The items on the consent agenda, confirmed and approved single-lot special assessments for fines, assessments, and/or cost of removing blight, blighting factors and/or causes of blight, as well as the abatement of nuisances. 3 ordinances were given their second reading and enactment. One was for Chapter 52 zoning, Article 3 District Regulations, Division 1, Section 52-162. It was to rezone properties generally described on that area bound by the north by an alley 154, east by alley number 3 in Military Street, south by the north lot line of outlets A and B, Assessors Railroad Plat, and on the west by 10th Street, from an R1 zoning district to an R zoning district. And the other one was to amend the same chapter to rezone the property generally described as a portion of Outlot A from A1 zoning district, which is medium density, multiple family residential, to R zoning district as well. And the last ordinance was to amend Chapter 52 zoning, Section 52-4 for definitions J through Q, which was the definition of junk vehicle of the Port Huron Code of Ordinances for the purpose of correcting a misprint. We will then move back to, from the city manager, number 1, if the clerk would please read it.
Accepting the bid from RBF Construction Incorporated in the amount of $280,000 for rehabilitation of the Elmwood Street Sanitary Pump Station.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Ashford. Is there a second?
Second.
Councilmember Ruiz. Is there discussion?
Mayor Rep, can we just have an explanation, even though we know this is quite a bit of money, as to why we're doing this?
Sure.
I can give a quick explanation, letting you go into detail. This is for a complete reconstruction of the wet wells both motors and dry wells and control panels at this lift station. We've gone throughout, and we're replacing the lift station every single year throughout the city. And so this is continuing the capital improvement plan for another lift station. He has the operational details.
Oh, okay, thank you, City Manager Freed.
Yep.
Okay, get up, back up, Lenny.
Mr.
You
Freed
gonna
did a
get
good
away
job
that
there.
You were
quick?
taking a break, yes.
Okay, Lenny, so when was the last time that we did this and the significance as to why now?
Well, this particular lift station has been in its current condition for over 18 years. We are trying to get these on a 15-year program to replace them, to refurbish them, as it were. In this particular case, RBF is the contractor, and they are the same contractor we used for Stone Street. They've done a very good job. We are converting the dry pit, which is currently where the pumps are housed, into a wet well. And what that means is we're putting in submersible pumps on a rail system. And what that does is it makes it much easier to maintain. It no longer is a confined space entry in order to get in there, which is a very detailed, it's a safety hazard to work on this particular. This is the same thing we did at Stone Street last year. We convert a dry pit into a wet well. We put it on a duplex rail system. It makes, so you go in there and you have two pumps that alternate, and you pull them out of the wet well and operate or work them and put them back in without having to go into the well, is really what we're doing here.
Oh, okay.
And this is the same sort of thing we're doing for every lift station we have throughout the city. We're making sure that the SCADA is up to speed. We're making sure that these are the safest, most economical pumps that save money in the long term with the cost of operation. And by the time that we've completed our refurbishment, we're going to be saving money and operating these systems like a modern system. Right now, a lot of them are very old. This one happens to be quite old.
Okay, so would this be considered preventive maintenance?
No, ma'am, this isn't
Okay, what is
preventive
this?
maintenance. This
Okay.
is refurbishment.
Okay. It's
And actually,
refurbished.
we're actually
Okay.
taking the old pumps out, putting new ones in, and we're putting in a different kind of well that makes it safer for our technicians to
Okay.
maintain and operate the system.
And then the preventive come after that, so you could keep it in check?
Yes,
For the
ma'am.
next one, okay, I just misspoke myself. I just wanted to make sure that you kind of explained it to us, I know a lot of us won't really get the details, but the reason why we're doing it now is because we need to do it at this point in time. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, that's what I really need to know. Thank you so much. You can sit down now.
Thank you. Well, before he sits down, let's see if there's anyone else on council
Okay.
that has some questions for him, and I think
Mayor,
Councilmember Warden does.
Yep. Lenny, just a couple questions on this. With the new equipment that you're getting installed and put in there, is there any type of a warranty on when you're refurbishing these pumps? Is there any type of a warranty or anything on the new stuff we're putting in that's going to,
Yes, sir.
Or service
we're not-
contract?
We're not refurbishing the pumps, we are actually replacing them. We are refurbishing the entire station.
Okay.
And changing its mode of operation. And yes, the pumps will have a one-year warranty for repair or replacement. We don't anticipate there being a problem. These are brand-new pumps, and yes, they will be warranted.
it's a 1 year? Okay. And the other thing is just on the budgeted amount for this, where did we come in? I see we got 6 different bids, so where did we come in on the budget for this?
Our budgeted estimate for this particular project, when we submitted into the capital project program last year, was $324,000. Our bids, as you see, range from $280 to $438. And so we were happy to have a low bid. That's well under our estimated budget.
And when is this going to start? After the ground?
We
Thoughts?
anticipate after we get insurances and shop drawings and the lead items for materials, that we'll be able to start this project in the late spring or early summer.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions from council? Thank you. We will take the vote.
Councilmember Ashford?
Yes.
Councilmember Harris?
Yes.
Councilmember Lamb?
Yes.
Councilmember Ruiz?
Yes.
Councilmember Warden?
Yes.
Councilmember Archibald?
Yes.
Mayor Rep.
Yes. We'll move on to, from the city manager, item 2.
Accepting the unit price bid from White Lake Dock and Dredge in the estimated amount of $121,033.99 for the 2018 maintenance dredging of the downtown marina area.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Councilmember Archibald, is there a second?
Second?
Madam Mayor.
Councilmember Lamb? Yes, Mr. Freed.
This is our annual dredging we bid out, which is based on an estimated quantity. So if you remember, for the last 3 years, we have bid out an estimated quantity of dredging, although we have not actually needed to dredge. We also have a multi-year contract with BMJ for depth testing. So they're going to go out there in the spring, and they'll do depth testing in the Black River throughout our marina to decide then whether or not we actually have to dredge. We have not dredged now. This is going on 3 years. We have an unusually high water levels, so we may have to dredge, we may not have to dredge. This is estimated quantities based on previous years. We will not know if we have to incur this cost until after BMJ does our depth testing. Eventually, we're going to have to dredge. We cannot keep getting lucky like this. But this has nothing to do with the canal. This has everything to do with just the downtown. So again, estimated quantities. We won't know if we actually have to dredge until BMJ does the test in the spring.
Well, you're doing this, excuse me, Mayor,
Yes.
just as a projection?
Yeah,
So-
every year we do a projected estimated quantities about how we normally dredge. In case we actually do need to dredge in the spring, they can get out there and do it. But again, we won't know until they do the depth testing, and we won't know the quantities either.
Can you go into depth about, so when we spend this money, this one is taken from the Marina Fund?
Correct.
Okay.
Yep, correct.
So it's not general fund?
Correct. It's from the
Yeah,
Marina Fund.
okay.
But sometimes if we do dredge, it will make the Marina Fund not be solvent that year, so we'll transfer funds from the general fund. But we will put this in our upcoming budget to account for it.
Oh, okay.
There's quite a difference between the two bidders, like $200,000. It's quite a jump between.
Lenny, can you explain the difference between the difference between the both bids?
Well, I can't explain why they bid the way they do. We've had a number of bidders in the past who are not currently bidding. Primarily, they tell us because of the fact that we have not actually let the work in the last few years. As soon as we actually do work, which we're anticipating that this year we may actually have to go out there, but we'll know in the spring. Once we're actually doing the dredging, then we'll have more companies who are willing to bid. We received word from our bidders from last year that, well, since you're not actually dredging, we're not going to submit. So it's unfortunate, but that's the nature of the business.
Thank you.
Mayor,
Yes.
I think a question asked him whether there's a big delta in between the gaps. The question is, are we getting what you asked for in that bid?
Are we getting what I
Are you
asked for?
getting, when you bid it out, you have specifications that you want them to meet your expectations. Are the expectations being met as far as what we?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Is there any other discussion?
Mayor Rep?
Yes. Councilmember Warden?
Just to clarify, again, the water level, down, and again, the water level is very high, which we're kind of blessed with, and actually, it's getting to the point where crossed my mind saying, wow, it raises another 1.5 feet. We're gonna, what do we do then? But with the flow from winter and all the sediment and stuff that comes in, they still, again, this is based on a quantity that you projected out enough to, like an average full dredge of,
Yes, sir.
like what quantity amount compared to when the water level was, 4 feet lower?
Well, we don't, we have an estimate based on the depth that we require in the center of the channel. And what we found in doing the hydrographic surveys in the last few years, that the depth in the center of the channel is adequate for all the traffic that we want to
Right.
go through. What we found is over the last 2 years, the depth on the sides are starting to come up, but they did not impede traffic, boats either traveling or docking. So the decision was made, we did not need to spend the money to dredge.
Nice, very nice.
And just as a clarification, in case anyone's concerned, our low bid here is $121,000. The low bidder last year, using the same estimated quantities, was $116,000.
Nice.
So the number is roughly the same with inflation.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Is there any other?
Mayor,
Yes,
just
Councilmember
one
Harris.
question. Do we have any background information on this White Lake Dock and Dredge?
Unfortunately, sir, we have not worked with them yet. So I can't give you a lot of detailed information about White Lake other than we found that they are qualified to perform the bid. They've not done work for the city of Port Huron yet.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor, one small fact as well. Several years ago, the Army Corps of Engineers did dredging well north of the Black River in Kimball Township. So we don't know, but we think dredging up in Kimball Township plus the high water levels has helped not having to dredge as much in the last couple of years. But the Army Corps has no plan to continue doing that, so it's like a one-and-done type deal.
Thank you. Thank you. If there's no further discussion, we'll take the vote.
Councilmember Harris?
Yes.
Councilmember Lamb?
Yes.
Councilmember Ruiz?
Yes.
Councilmember Warden?
Yes.
Councilmember Archibald?
Yes.
Councilmember Ashford?
Yes.
Mayor Rep.
Yes. Item 3 under from the city manager.
Receive and file the quarterly financial report for the 6-month period ending December 31st, 2017.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Councilmember Archibald, is there a second?
Second?
Councilmember Lamb, could we have a overview of the 6-month financial?
Yes, you have your projected financial points. We're about 48% year-to-date, and we're at the 50% mark of the budget. Our items we realized early on in the year, so there's sometimes there are like one-time expenditures, you get billed once a year. A lot of those come in the first 6 months, so that can account for a lot of idle items that are trending slightly over. But year over year, we're trending about where we were last year. We're within budget. We anticipate coming in this year on budget as projected.
Thank you. Any discussion or questions?
Mayor Rep,
Councilmember Harris.
as we mentioned, or I mentioned just at a previous meeting and stuff, I think on page 14, 15, we're going to, and I know it's kind of a first year, but McMorran Complex kind of jumps out at us, and I think that for us to keep a good eye on this for the rest of the year to see where we're at. I know we're, McMorran, the last couple of months, the financial picture has gotten a lot better, but the numbers are kind of jumped up there. They're more than probably around 60% of their revenue or expenses. So I just thought that was something we should bring, keep on our attention as far as expenditures and stuff going. And we'll maybe have to make some adjustment to our budget for next year.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions?
Mayor Rep.
Councilmember Warden.
Just a quick, when I'm looking at the budget of revenues for property taxes and income tax, and I know the property taxes, looks like we're 145,000 under. We pretty much have already been through the cycle of the property tax collection, and is there any out there as far as receivables in that number, or is there any, is that just tax write-up? I mean, what's, stay on top of these properties? Is it?
Yes, Mayor and Council, on the property taxes, the way you account for them is when you levy the tax, then you record the revenue, so that's what we've done in that case. The income taxes, we record the revenue as the taxes come in, so it's a little bit slower process. By the time we get to the end of the year, they should even out. The taxes receivable can vary, but by the end of the year, we'll be made whole because we turn our unpaid taxes over to the county, and they reimburse us out of the county revolving tax fund, so.
So the property tax revenue in the budget, we're going to get all that one way or the other for that?
Yes.
Okay. I appreciate it.
Any other questions? Thank you. We'll take the vote.
Councilmember Lamb?
Yes.
Councilmember Ruiz?
Yes.
Councilmember Warden?
Yes.
Councilmember Archibald?
Yes.
Councilmember Ashford?
Yes.
Councilmember Harris?
Yes.
Mayor Rep.
Yes. We're to resolutions. Number 1, please.
Authorizing 9 payments.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Councilmember Archibald, is there a second?
Second?
Councilmember Lamb. Any discussion, questions?
We
We'll
got to
take-
pay our bills.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. We will take the vote.
Councilmember Ruiz?
Yes.
Councilmember Warden?
Yes.
Councilmember Archibald?
Yes.
Councilmember Ashford?
Yes.
Councilmember Harris?
Yes.
Councilmember Lamb?
Yes.
Mayor Rep.
Yes. Item 2 under resolutions.
Approving the sale of 4 vacant lots in Edison Shores for $10,500.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Mayor Pro Tem Ashford, is there a second?
Second.
Councilmember Harris. Could we have a little
Yes,
explanation of
absolutely.
this, please?
Madam Mayor and Council, about a year ago, just in early April, members of the Edison Shore Condominium Association approached me about their desire to purchase 4 empty parcels that the city currently owns within Edison Shores. We have had those parcels since the initial concept of the Edison Shores development. With the recession and the housing market and the climate at the time over the last couple of years, we have been unable to sell those lots because you can't just buy that lot and build whatever you want. You must build it to the specifications of the condo association, so the brick, the roof peaks, all of that. To build that structure from new, in the current market conditions, they would be unable to sell it for a profit. In fact, you would actually lose money. So those parcels have sat empty. The condo association approached me, wanted to purchase it. We essentially talked it out, said, we believe $2,500 is a reasonable price. I reached out to, our city attorney reached out to a local realtor who's a broker and said, what do you think? And they said, yeah, we believe that's a fair and reasonable price, given that you don't have the freedom to build whatever you want. You have to build them to the units. The benefits for selling these is that the city is able to no longer pay the mowing costs, the association costs that we're currently incurring. The benefit to the condo association is that they would be able to have green space, or they would be able to build maybe some type of storage facility because they know they lack storage. Since that time, we've done due diligence. We've also and to put it out there, we also conducted a appraisal that placed the value at the parcels at about $25,000. We highly disagree with that because they never took into account that you couldn't build whatever you wanted. They weren't just property within Edison Shores comps. They never took into account the actual cost of building it. So after meeting with the planning director, who used to do real estate and commercial, talking with a broker, we do not believe that appraisal was accurate, and we do not accept it. I concur with the Edison Shores Condominium Association. They're worth about $2,500. Since that time, we have been working with them, and their attorney essentially sent us a letter saying, we want the city council to take this up. Essentially, it's been going on long enough. David Haynes and I and the staff have been working. We thought, well, the market has been coming back. Would it be possible to find someone now in the current market conditions who would actually build the condos as designed to generate that tax base? We have found a local builder, the Witts, who own a building company, Steve Witt Construction, who are willing to purchase those properties and build 4 condominiums within 24 months to essentially complete the construction of that facility. They believe now they can actually sell it. They will build them to match the condo association specifications. I've included a spreadsheet in your packet. If we build those 4 condos, not only will it reduce the burden of condominium association dues for the current members, but it will also generate on a homestead about more than $400,000 in taxes over 15 years. So the choice is tonight, to be fair. We can sell it to the condominium association for $10,000. They can either keep it as a green space, or they can build a storage unit, whatever they hope to do. They were the first to approach the city, to be fair to the condominium association. They were the first to bring this to us, to bring us an offer. So the second offer was kind of like a Johnny-come-lately, we think we can do this and pull this off. The economy has changed in the last year. The housing market is significantly more robust. Our home values have gone up in the city significantly. We'll probably actually be heavily this year. So you have the options before you. Under the stipulation of the sale, if we do accept the sale to the Witts for the construction of 4 condominiums, I would like in the motion to install a clawback that in 24 months, if they're not constructed, they claw back and the sale is made immediately available to the Edison Shores condominium. So if in fact they can't build the 4 units, or they don't build, say they build 2 or they build 3, they have 24 months to pull it off. If they can't, we revert the sale back to the condo association because they were the first to come to approach us. I think they'll build 1 or 2, see if they can't get a market for it, and if there's, then build the other 2. So that's kind of what I'm thinking.
Mayor,
Yes, Mayor Pro Tem
well,
Ashford.
if you was thinking that, and you knew it before then, why would you
So
hand us this?
so we got the second offer, I believe, was that this morning? Yes. We received the second offer this morning. We revised the council packet twice, and we've been thinking about it all afternoon, talking about it, what we could offer. So that's something we want to throw out there. You have your option. But I want you to know that you have options between putting a clawback, selling it as is. My concern is if we sell it as is and they don't develop it, then we can't claw it back. And we initially have done clawbacks. We did it with the Water Street project as well with one developer. So I think that's something that could be easily added in.
So
Mayor
you
Rath?
want-
Councilmember
Sorry,
Archibald.
are you not done? So you want us to pass this with the amendment of the clawback?
Of 24 months.
24 months.
And then if it's clawed back, the authorizing the sale to the condo association.
So that's your recommendation?
It is.
Okay.
Councilmember Archibald.
I would recommend that we do make an amendment to the resolution for that clawback. I would like to see condos built on that, rather than it become storage or green space, because that's income coming back to us. So I would prefer we do that, but like James said, I would like to be sure that it is in the purchase agreement, that one, they have to build to match, and two, that there is a clawback, so that it doesn't sit there for 5, 6, 10 years, and then they're just trying to sell the property.
For the sake, I made the motion, moved it, didn't I?
Well,
Oh,
you
still
restated
have
it,
to
but you
restate
hadn't.
it. So, okay,
I didn't
yeah.
know if you were making a motion or not. You just kind of restated it.
Oh, no, that was the right way. I just wanted to clarify, make sure we were all on the same
Yep.
page. No, I don't have any problem with that, but I was just thinking, for the secretary, if you wanted me to take it back and include it in the original motion.
You made the motion, but we'd have to make a motion
You'll
to
have
amend.
make- Okay, well, that's fine,
So-
okay.
Can I add
Yeah.
one more thing?
No,
I did not want this to go to the council tonight. We amended the resolution twice today. I don't like rushing things, but I have an attorney telling me that if you don't vote on it tonight, we're going to take action. And so the condo association has forced a vote tonight. Per their attorney, our legal counsel has worked with them. So if you're asking if this wasn't ready for prime time, because we received a second bid today, whole other plan, it wasn't, but their attorney has advised us that they are demanding that we vote on this tonight. And so that is what's causing this to be rushed.
Are they aware that there is a second offer out there?
We addressed their legal counsel today. Todd, if you want to address this?
That was I didn't finish, so that was my next question.
Okay.
Do we have any legal concerns or issues that, as he put it, Johnny-come-lately is now in the picture?
The short answer is I did speak with their attorney today, and representatives from the association are here tonight as well, and I had a brief opportunity to speak with them as well. And basically where we're at with this Johnny-come-lately offer, this new offer that you mentioned, is really we're in a win-win situation where if we have somebody who builds the condominiums to the specifications and does so within 24 months, not only does the city get the tax base, but that's also good for the association because they have additional dues-paying members and, highly valuable property added to their development. So it's a win-win for both sides at this point. And I agree with the 24-month and the requirement that they build the specifications. I think those are the two recommendations I had.
Thank you. Did you have another question? Good. That answered it? Okay. Councilmember Ruiz.
So the threat of having an attorney saying we need to vote on this tonight, I missed something, I'm sorry. What's that based on?
It's a complicated legal argument based upon some amendments that changed. And the theory was originally that if you don't build within 10 years, then the unbuilt units then revert to the association. There's a flaw in their argument, which I pointed out to them. They wanted to see this move forward. Those lots have remained vacant. What happened here today with the offer coming forward is actually a better scenario for the condominium association as well as the city. So it kind of moves this in a better direction.
Okay,
Where
that
the need
helps
for
me understand the
immediate-
fact that if within 24 months, and we also, I think, are familiar with the builders, most likely this is going to come to fruition. But it just answers my question about that we would automatically defer to them because they do have, do have some reasoning behind their request. Thanks.
And to provide some history as well, so essentially how it worked is in April of last year, I met with them. We said, okay, I don't see any problem with this. I got to do some due diligence. We have to talk to a broker, I have to talk to an appraiser. During that appraisal process, members of the condominium association approached me and said, well, we believe we already own them because of this flawed logic of legal reasoning, so they walked away from the table. So I hadn't heard from them in quite some time. And then 2 weeks before Christmas, I got a Dear John letter from a lawyer saying, we want you to vote. And I said, well, that's unreasonable. It's Christmas. We don't have time. I mean, the vote was going to be within 2 weeks, and the agenda was already put together. I said, we'll take it till February. We worked with their legal counsel to allow us to come to this date, but essentially, they want resolution to this, and I agree with that. So that's why it's on the agenda tonight. But that was the history. We were working on this for more than a year. There was this gray period where they thought maybe they already owned it, so they kind of backed away from the table, and now we're back to where we are today.
Mayor Rep,
Councilmember Warden.
just a lot of stuff thrown out here. When was the appraisal done? Because I'm assuming that this condominium association letter is April 25th, 2017, and they've been waiting a long time, probably tell me when the process was of some type of an appraisal or some type of evaluation. Can you give me the time frame of when that was, or when a second opinion was? Because, I just need to kind of
Yeah, sure.
grasp that from what
David,
you
do you have
said.
the date? Do you have the date of the appraisal?
Thank you, Todd.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. We probably started that process in the early fall, and our first contact was with an appraisal group that actually had to get back with us and tell us that they were not able to take on the assignment. They actually were working for the association. So we had to go back to the drawing board and find another appraisal group. We entered into an agreement after Mr. Freed also agreed that we could enter into having the appraisal completed. That was done probably in December.
So there's basically the intent initially was the condominium association wanting to say, hey, this is a certain time frame, they want to purchase this property, went through the appraisal, they got an appraiser, you guys got an appraiser, and then when it comes in and they said, hey, we want to get this thing done, so I'm assuming that this is an agreed upon price, or at least you want to bring it to council after all that time. Then to have a last minute, another person step in to potentially just raise the bid up $500 and try to get it voted on. I just really, number one, what is the fair price? It sounds like, I've always said anytime we're selling vacant land or lots to try to get the top dollar for the taxpayers, number one. So it seems like there's definitely a disparity or a range. Number two, what if the developer, the guy who's put in here that wants to build them, that wants to pay $500 more total, does he have to have the approval of the condo association? And have they been in contact, and is the condo association okay with that? There's a lot of parts here that for us to make a decision here.
So, Councilman Warden, the conversation in the spring was have an appraiser done. During their process of getting an appraisal, they became led to believe that they already owned it. And so it wasn't until fall in which I asked for an appraisal. And the letter I got in December was, we think we own it, so if you don't sell it to us, we'll essentially take it, which was flawed. Our attorney wrote back and clarified the position of the city. Because we are rushed, we felt that we owed it to the taxpayers to look at what's the best long-term value. Is it green space or storage unit, or is it 4 condos generating nearly $500,000 in tax revenue over 15 years? And if you go back to the original intent, the city was the developer for the Edison Shores condominium project for the sole purpose of growing our tax base. So the intent of that city project was to develop that property to get that tax base there. And so this goes back to the original intent, was the value. So it's not focusing just on the sale cost, but the taxable value moving forward, which I put that projection in your packet.
Yeah, I know the end, and a quick end result, which one might be better at the time. I'm more concerned about the parties involved and how long they've been involved, and the last minute did they have a chance to, counter and address the higher price, because they have showed interest, and they are the association. And I just didn't know with that time frame, that they aware of. So they're aware of the price, they think it's been agreed upon, and they want us to vote whether we sell it to them for 10,000?
I have their offer letter, and I have their letter from their attorney demanding a vote tonight.
Okay.
So the timeline was laid out by their attorney,
Okay.
and I accept that timeline.
Okay, and then the other party hopped in with $500 higher?
But they're the only developer we found that would actually build these units and sell them to specifications. That is the problem with the property for so long, is can you actually build them and get your money out? This developer is willing to take a risk and develop these properties the way it was originally intended, so the taxable value will be there.
Yeah.
And the builder's willing to ensure that, obviously, he would recognize that the condo association would be an integral part in making sure that the design and the materials used are conform to the other units as well.
And to add to that, the purchase agreement that the city uses when they sold all the condominium sites specifically lays out the specifications, the design specifications that cannot be altered, and that will be the same for this sale as well. They will have to build them to the condo association specifications, as every other unit has been developed there. That is part of the contingent of sale.
Okay, so, and if the condo association purchased these lots, would they have the opportunity to sell them to a developer to build a condo on?
They have at least expressed an interest of putting a storage on
all
the
four?
property. And we had the tax ramifications of that storage building through the assessor's office, laid out what that would look like over a 15-year period. The contributing value of a storage facility, roughly a 30 by 40, was about $27,000 in taxes. Whereas with the properties being improved on the 4 lots over the same period of time, you're looking somewhere north of $500,000 in taxable revenue coming in.
So was there any restriction for the condo association to purchase these prior, or put an offer into prior, and then they would be able to then divide it up and sell it, or have somebody develop 1 or 2 and then have a storage unit on the other 2?
They expressed to me during negotiations that it was intent to maybe do storage units, but most likely just green space.
Okay. Yeah, it just seems, like, again, it's a last-minute thing that's now put on us, and you have to wonder if there's been proper dialogue back and forth now to see about getting whether it's the top dollar, or if they're going to be, this is, because I'm looking out for the taxpayers here, too, if we're going to have somebody jump on there, so, thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Councilmember Harris.
Just one last question on the fallback. What if Sanctum can only complete 3 homes or 2 homes?
Then there's 1 lot available.
Okay, we don't get everything back, okay, thank you.
Okay, so we do have an amendment to the original vote, which you did, and the amendment Sherry offered, which was to, if they do not build within 24 months, it reverts back and then would be conveyed to the Edison Shores Condo Association for the $10,000, correct?
Correct. Right?
Correct.
Okay, and so we need a second to Sherry's amendment.
Second it.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Ashford. So right now, we are going to vote just on the amendment.
Councilmember Warden.
I'm sorry, which amendment are here?
What I just said.
Verbal.
Just
verbal.
adding the 24 month to it, and then we're going to be voting on whether we're going to approve it or not after?
Correct.
Okay.
So this is
Yes.
just on adding the 24 months, the
Yes.
reversion clause, okay?
Thank you.
Councilmember Archibald.
Yes.
Councilmember Ashford.
Yes.
Councilmember Harris.
Yes.
Councilmember Lamb.
Yes.
Councilmember Ruiz.
Yes.
Mayor Rep.
Yes, now we will vote on the resolution as amended.
Councilmember Archibald.
Yes.
Councilmember Ashford.
Yes.
Councilmember Harris.
Yes.
Councilmember Lamb.
Yes.
Councilmember Ruiz.
Yes.
Councilmember Warden.
No.
Mayor Rep.
Yes. We will move on to resolution number 3, please.
Designating qualified city banks and city credit unions as approved depositories and authorizing the city manager, director of finance, controller, and treasurer to invest city funds in any or all of these approved banks and credit unions.
Is there a motion?
So move.
Mayor Pro Tem Ashford, is there a second?
Second?
Councilmember Harris. Is there discussion?
Madam Mayor, this is just a standard protocol. We have to have a policy on file per Gadsby in our county. Our accountants want it, our auditors. So we just have to have something on file that says, how do we choose our bank? We currently have no intentions of doing anything than we're already doing.
Okay, thank you. Any questions, discussion? We'll take the vote.
Councilmember Ashford?
Yes.
Councilmember Harris?
Yes.
Councilmember Lamb?
Yes.
Councilmember Ruiz?
Yes.
Councilmember Warden?
Yes.
Councilmember Archibald?
Yes.
Mayor Rep.
Yes. Resolution 4.
Allocation of $10,000 to the Blue Water Young Professionals to assist with completing the Black River Walk Pavilion using Michigan Department of Transportation mitigation funding dollars.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Support.
Councilmember Archibald, Mayor Pro Tem Ashford. Is there discussion?
Madam Mayor, I spoke with the young professionals. I also spoke with Dave Brown and Mark Walker about what they intend on doing this. So as you can tell from the picture, they have this amazing facility here. They have the fireplaces, the grills. What they wanted to do in the final design was they want to put up sides that allow it to be used in all different types of weather. So if it's windy, you can put the sides up. You can also divide it so multiple parties can use it. It's really big, and you can easily put up dividers in it. And so the $10,000 will help with the finishing costs. They have raised an extraordinary amount of money, I believe almost $150,000, is that correct, if not more, from private donors. So we would use $10,000. We believe that this is a tourism draw. It's bringing in boaters from all across the state to come to our community. It fits within the green sheet guidelines for mitigation dollars, and so I recommend $10,000 from our MDOT Economic Development Fund to finish off this keynote economic development project along our Black River. I also want to thank all the donors and thank Dave and Mr. Walker for your leadership on this, and Donna as well. It's been a huge asset and a gem down there, and I think we all saw the benefits during Boat Week when it was just kind of like the magnet of the Riverwalk. So it turned out beautifully.
It is very nice. Is there any discussion, questions?
Mayor Rep.
What?
Just,
Councilmember Harris.
just a quick question. Is this safe from anything that the college has got in their future plans or the city future plans? I like the pavilion, like it where it's at, but is it safe? It's going to be there for 20 years, and
We currently have no plans for the
the
Black.
college has no...
We own the property.
Okay, thank you.
Councilmember Archibald.
I just wanted to echo James's sentiments, and I think it's a wonderful asset for our community downtown, for the Riverwalk, as well as for the marina, and so I thank all of you as well, and I definitely support it.
It is a nice project, and I think that putting some kind of a side up will be nice, because it's very windy down there. So I've been down there when it's very windy, so it would be nice protection.
Yeah, Mayor Rep, I'd just like to join my fellow council members, Archibald, in congratulating, I love your spirit. Whenever there's a need in Port Huron, you always rise to the occasion. That's what we need here. We need to not just say about collaboration, but demonstrate how this is supposed to happen. So I want to thank you on behalf of all our citizens for the difference that you make for us here in the city of Port Huron. Thank you. Thank you.
Mayor Rep.
Yes, Councilmember.
Yeah, again, this is a perfect example of, private groups or volunteers getting together, raising money for a common need or at least a want to improve our downtown. And, to hear, one of my questions was going to ask how much have they raised prior to this already that go into it, and somebody mentioned $100,000. It's just 200,000, just outstanding when we get groups together and go after one thing like that, and it's going to be there as a great amenity. So I want to say again, thank you. These are perfect examples of the private sector coming up and groups coming together for a cause. And again, I'm thankful that we have some of this mitigation dollars still available to allocate to some of these, even though it's a small portion. Will help you guys get it enhanced and finished. So, and thanks for coming tonight and sharing as well.
When will they be up? The weather curtains. When will they be done?
Once the ice flows out.
The ice is gone.
Madam Mayor, just real quick for housekeeping, under Gadsby rules, we have to be invoiced. I've asked Blue Water Young Professionals, which spearheaded this project, to invoice the city for the $10,000. So when you get your next bill cycle, you'll see an invoice paid to Blue Water Young Professionals for $10,000. That will be for this project. So just when you see that, just some explanation when you get that in your packet.
Okay, we will take the vote.
Councilmember Harris?
Yes.
Councilmember Lamb?
Yes.
Councilmember Ruiz?
Yes.
Councilmember Warden?
Yes.
Councilmember Archibald?
Yes.
Councilmember Ashford?
Yes.
Mayor Rep?
Yes, that concludes our agenda. We, under announcements, we have a special city council meeting that's going to be held next week, February 22nd, 6 p.m. in conference room 408 to discuss goals for the next fiscal year, which is open to the public if anyone wishes to attend. I have a couple other things. Of course, everybody's interested and been watching the Winter Olympics, and I know there's been a lot of press on from Marysville of having Chad Billings playing hockey, which is really nice to have that from our area. And also, there's a young lady that used to be a resident of Port Huron. Her name is Melissa Skalola, if I can pronounce that correctly. She doesn't live in Port Huron anymore, but was born and raised here, and she is a female referee for the women's hockey over there, and that's quite an accomplishment for her as well. So not only does Marysville have somebody over there, so does Port Huron. So got to get that one in there. And I have asked her to come to our next council meeting if she's back, and we'd like to acknowledge her for her efforts
nice.
over there. So hopefully she can make it to the next council meeting, but I did want to mention that. And also then, not to put Chief Baker on the spot, but I was here today to accept, along with him, to accept a $10,000 check from AT&T, which we just love to get, and it's for the Youth Police Academy. So if you have a second, if you want to talk about it, that'd be great.
I would love to, Mayor and Council. We're very fortunate to write that grant. What we're doing, as you can imagine, when you talk about law enforcement, recruiting's been very difficult, getting people in the door, getting qualified police officers. So we've kind of sectioned this off in a couple different pieces to get people to come to the department. And one of the things we've targeted is our youth, and we thought it would be really beneficial to feed our Explorer and our Cadet program. In doing so, we've created this concept of a youth police academy. It's going to be a one-week program in June where we're going to target 11th and 12th graders in our local high schools and have them come in, and we're going to teach them all the facets that we can in that week period of time about law enforcement. And in doing so, as you can imagine, that costs money to have supplies, equipment, and those type of things. So we partnered with AT&T. We wrote a grant. We were fortunate enough to be awarded that grant. And earlier today, as you mentioned, we received $10,000 towards those efforts, which we think is going to be something that we can use for our supplies for the Youth Academy for this year and for years to come. There's a lot of that equipment we can use over and over again when you're talking about the equipment that those folks will be using for the training. So we're really excited about the project. Watch our Facebook, watch our social media. We will be having announcements. Matter of fact, we have some stuff coming out this week about the application process and targeting those youth and getting those people interested in signing up for the program.
Thank you. Thank you. That concludes what I have to say. Is there anything else from council?
Just one comment. If it's a good sign, whether the winter's over or not, the high school hockey program in its regular season ends this Saturday at 5 p.m.
I thought you were going to say you saw. I thought you were going to say you saw
The
Robin.
groundhog. Robin. I was talking about
I
the
said the winter
groundhog.
season's over. I thought.
No, it's been a good season. There's going to be a little reorganization next year, but you got to give it credit. Port Huron High and Port Huron Northern and Marysville spent a lot of time in McMorran, and it's been an interesting year. And I think hockey's coming back. The numbers have improved a little bit. The quality's got a ways to go yet, but we're coming. So
Good. Thank you.
thank you.
Is there
Mayor
any-
Rep?
Yes, Councilmember
Yeah,
Ward.
just some announcements. I want to thank everybody who, again, came out tonight and shared up to the 4 minutes for whatever topic. We definitely appreciate it. I appreciate hearing, some of the comments, and I definitely want to, even though it was on a consent agenda, it was a second reading and enactment of changing your neighborhood in that section that you guys undertook from R1 to an R. I just think that is just an outstanding example, leadership of having neighbors get together and kind of control and take control of their neighborhood, the beautiful neighborhood, and coming together and approaching the city resources for some guidance in the planning department and the city manager, I'm sure, involved to be able to change that for your collective good. And I would like to, hopefully you guys will share as people, other neighbors or other neighborhoods maybe pique their interest. It's something that is, I think it's a great way to build that neighborhood bond as well. So, and that's really all I had to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else from council? Is there a motion to adjourn? Meeting adjourned.